and welcome to episode 98 of 15K Plus Random Movie Reviews, the podcast where we take a random movie from Metacritic's all-time movie list. This is Colin.
And this is Niall.
And this is Random Movie 43 on the list, and it is The Third Man from 1949. Metascore of 97, user score of 8.4, budget 150k or so, and then a box office of 277k or so Great British pounds, not dollars.
Reasonable return.
Yeah. Directed by Carol Reed, who directed Oliver! Exclamation mark.
Exclamation mark, very important.
Yeah. Written by Graham Greene, Orson Welles, with everything. I think every line Orson Welles just rewrote for himself to be more smart. Alexander Cordu.
He does pick the best dialogue for himself, really, doesn't he? He's got some great lines in it.
Yeah, well, he's only in the movie for 15 minutes or something?
Yeah, maximum, yeah.
He's on the poster.
I know.
He's
they
top
used him
billing.
to sell it, I guess.
Oh, yeah. I don't even think he was there for most of the sewer shots in the end.
He wasn't.
That was
body
in
double.
England.
Even the director was part of the body double shots because he was being an a-hole, apparently.
No doubt. He was filming Othello, or he was producing Othello at the time, and he even brought the cast over to run through rehearsals on the downtime he had. So he really wasn't bought into this movie at all.
Phoning it in, but he still does a great job.
Yeah. Cinematographer, you have to give a nod to Robert Krasker. He won the Oscar for cinematography, and
deservedly so. It still holds up very well. Really good. Surprising for the year. Really, really good.
Obviously black and white, so it's stark contrast. There's shadows, there's spotlights, there's texture, there's wetness, there's everything in between. It's very well done, and lots of Dutch angles. Actually, it was interesting because I was watching the early shots, and we have two movies in a row where somebody actually does fast cameras,
so
shots.
Differently done, though.
What's the better way of describing that? They basically rapidly change camera angles, camera shots, shot types. There was sometimes in this I was going, oh, this is what Catwoman got wrong with how they did it. There's actually reason behind
that
it.
Could be said for everything in a movie, though. Dialogue, plot, cinematography.
Right. Yeah. But it was interesting to see, okay, he did it here, but it actually made sense here, and it wasn't jarring or anything.
No. Not at all.
Editing as well, Oswald Haffenrichter. I just thought the editing was good, so I wanted to give him a shout out. Yeah. They were nominated.
He doesn't care.
Yeah, he doesn't care. Nominated for director and editing, but did not get it. Basically, what happens is in this movie is that Holly Martins, played by Joseph Cotten, goes to Vienna, Austria, shortly after the Second World War. Vienna's in a turmoil. There's bricks everywhere. There's bombed out buildings everywhere. His buddy, Harry Lime, played by Orson Welles, has called him over to give him a job. He's he's an okay author. Some people know his stuff, as we see throughout the movie, but he doesn't have any money.
Yeah, I think he's kind of been portraying himself as a bit of a pulp fiction Western novelist. He's no James Joyce, as the name is dropped later on. And he gets kind of embarrassed in a town hall meeting discussing literature, where he clearly knows F all about the stuff he does.
Yeah. So he doesn't really know Harry Lime is a bit of a cad, a bit of a sort of racketeer, as they call him. And well, obviously we have to start off with the Harry Lime theme, which I was like, oh, that's the song.
I was like, I know that song. Then I Shazammed it and went, oh, it's the Harry Lime theme. That's what it is for all these years. And I've heard it, I don't know how many times since. It's been used a bucket of times. Great tune. And it's used to fantastic effect the whole way through this movie. There isn't a lot of music, but when it's used, and it's variations on the theme as well at the right times. So
True.
It's well done.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's like, oh, that's cool, and it's a very twangy guitar type thing. I think it's even a special type of guitar. I don't even think it's a guitar. I think it's some sort of,
The Harry Lime guitar.
yeah, some instrument. Anyway, Vienna, Austria. Vienna, Austria is a great setting for this. It's
Especially the time period that like this is filmed in 1949. Not that long after it was bombed the Feck. So
no,
it's authentic, you know. It is rubble. It's great. It's such a evocative scene to be filming on. The rubble that they run up and the stairs they run across, they're all smashed, and the buildings they go through, they're smashed. They've been bombed, and it's another character to the movie, if you ask me. It's a really important character in the movie.
yeah, very true. And obviously, the sewers underneath Vienna play a big part in it. And they did actually film them in the
In the sewers,
Viennese sewers.
and they used the cops that policed the sewers to play the cops policing the sewers. Brilliant.
What a difference 4 years after 45 makes. They were fighting for their lives. Well, actually, no, Vienna was neutral, right? So I'm sure they were bombed because it's Hitler's gaff.
Not that neutral. They got bombed to F though, yeah.
Yeah, they got bombed out because Hitler annexed them, right? They weren't.
Yeah, he just kind of went, "Hey, lads, we're annexing you," and they were like, "Okay."
All right, fair enough. We speak German, so it makes sense. So yeah, so if Holly Martins comes to Vienna, and he soon quickly finds out that Lime is dead from his German neighbor Carl.
The porter who says, "You're 10 minutes late, buddy," and he's like, "What? 10 minutes late for what?" Hey, the coffin just went with his friends, and he's like, "Oh." Yeah, bit of a double take.
You're a tote. Yeah. So he heads to the graveyard and sort of, yeah, everybody stares at him. It's sort of they're going, who the hell is this guy?
We meet all the players here, all the important peeps, apart from one, which we'll discuss later on.
Yeah, the third man. Anyway, we meet Major Calloway, which is funny because he calls him Callahan a lot, and he goes, "I'm not Irish."
No, pretty Irish, fecker.
Yeah. Calloway gives him a lift from the cemetery, and he passes Anna on the way past, who sort of is this.
There's a lovely symmetry between this and the end, the passing thing. I only just thought of it there, but it's such a lovely book ending of the movie.
Yeah, it's exactly the same, really, apart from he gets out at the end. So he basically takes a drink with Major Calloway and gets drunk and starts yelling a lot.
Calloway Callahan, fucking
Calloway
starts slagging off his buddy Harry Lime, saying he was a bit of a cad and a bit of a, as you said, racketeer, and he doesn't like that very much, especially when he's drunk. So he takes a swing at Calloway, and Sergeant Payne, which is a fantastic name, Sergeant Payne, smacks him one, but it's a nice polite smack. I love how he hits him. It's like puts him down, not overly hitting him that hard, and kind of apologizes for hitting him. Did you cop who was playing Sergeant Payne?
I watched it 4 days ago, and I think I read it in notes, but no, tell me. Bernard Lee, and I don't know.
Bernard Lee, that's the lad. And he's the guy who, I was looking at his face going, I know him, but he's not as I expect him. And he wasn't. He played M in about 15 different Bond movies.
Right. I see that now, yeah.
So he's a young M. It was kind of... I couldn't place him, so I had to pause the movie, and I needed to know. And yeah, I'd seen him a bunch of times as an elderly gentleman.
No, he didn't ring a bell to me, actually, to be honest with you. His face, and yeah, I've obviously seen those Bond movies, but Desmond Llewellyn, I think, is my... No, Desmond Llewellyn was Q in Bond, yeah, so I don't really remember who played M. I liked Q better because he had the gadgets.
Oh, yeah, exploding cigarettes and the watch that fires lasers and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. So they say, listen, get on the plane tomorrow. Here's a hotel. Let's go.
Jog on, buddy.
Yeah, hotel. And he meets I think Baron Kurtz there, right? Doesn't he?
He gets a phone call when he's
A
at the
phone
hotel
call.
from
That's
Baron
right.
Kurtz to say, I can't come to the hotel because it's in the international district and I'm not allowed in there. But if you come visit me at the Casanova Club or something, we can have a wee drinky and have a chat about your friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was the Casanova Club.
Yeah, it is.
One of them anyway, or a cafe. I'm confused. There's a couple of different locations.
Yeah.
I've muddled together.
He does basically get a stay of pardon with Crabbins, who said, "Oh, you're a famous author, are you?" Because Payne has read one of his pulp comics. He said, "Yeah, come and speak with my book club or whatever."
And he's like, okay.
Yeah, sure. That'll keep me here.
Yeah.
So I think he goes to Lime's building, right? And tries to ask what happened there. No, he's outside. He meets with Thingamajig, Kurtz, and then they're walking outside.
Yes,
and he talks
Kurtz
him through
his little micro dog, and he chats about what happened, and he explains, this is where it happened. Here's where me and his buddy, the doctor, drag him to the other side where he dies after telling us blah blah blah. So
after telling us, I look after Holly Martins, and as he's doing this, a lot of weird angles of neighbors just looking out of windows and everything is happening when they're talking about it. So it's another kind of cool thing, and a lot of great cinematography happen in that scene.
It is. It's wonderfully put together.
Yeah. How does he get to the theater to see Miss Schmidt? I can't remember.
Schmidt.
This is the problem with me.
He's chatting to Kurtz, and he mentions the lady because she caught his eye. So he starts asking questions about her, and he went, "Oh yes, she was a friend of your buddy Harry, but I wouldn't go near her." And he's like, "Why?" "Oh, she won't want to see you. She'd be sad." And he's like, okay, yeah. I want to see her now.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
what club should you... Oh, you said she's in the blah blah club. Okay, that's where I'm going right now. Bye-bye.
Yeah. And there's more great angles in the theatre as well. Miss Schmidt, he goes to see her backstage, and she's maudlin, if for want of a better word. And
she's a bit sad. Her bow's just been snuffed out.
Yeah, so she's Harry Lime's bit on the side, I guess, and she basically says...
There's no side. She's his main squeeze at that time.
Main squeeze. He doesn't really think so, though, Harry Lime. He doesn't do anything for her later on.
Yeah, he's an asshole. But we can get to that.
He's a bit of a twat. But she basically says, "I want to be dead too."
Yeah, she's big into him. Like she's still very sad at his departure. In fairness, it's been like a day, so yeah. A day at least since the funeral, I should say.
Yeah. So I think he goes to... Yeah, you better lead this because it's been 4 days. And my notes don't make any sense to me because I've got Harry's driver, doctor, accident ? I'm like going, what part of the movie is this?
So he's chatting with the actress lady for a while. Doesn't really get much out of her. So she chats to him about Dr. Winkle. So he's like, Dr. Winkle, you say? Okay. So he was there at the scene. Okay, I'll go talk to him next. So sods off to Dr. Winkle's house and is let in by the Dr. Winkle when he hears his name, when he mentions Harry. So they're chatting about the incident, and Dr. Winkle basically just says, "Sorry, I can't give you any information other than medical information, and I can tell you is he's dead." He died from a brute blood force trauma to the head. I don't know if it was murder or anything like that. I can't say that because I'm a doctor. I do medical stuff.
Yeah. When he knocks on the door, he's like cutting a game hen or something. There's like a close up of him cutting
It's really focused, and he's like, and then and he's like, pulls a knife out, puts it down. It's an interesting. I'm not sure I like that piece. I don't really know that it adds anything.
Don't know what it was about. It was sort of jarring, but it was innovative, I think.
The best piece of turkey cutting I've seen in a while.
Hey, they knew how to do it back in the 40s.
They did. It was a nice knife as well.
That ain't a knife. So he talks to the porter at some point, right?
Yeah, he talks to the porter right now, and he's back at the gaff, annoying the porter again. This is the second time he's been annoying the porter. And
this guy doesn't speak a lot of English,
but he does cop something at this point, based on what the porter's been saying. And he says, "Okay, well, the guy who hit him was Harry's driver. His doctor was there. His best friend was there. You were there as the porter to see it. Was there anybody there that Harry didn't know?" And the porter's like, This is where he's like, it's getting really bloody suspicious because there was no strangers. That's one of the statements he says. So there was no strangers there at all, huh? And the porter's like, I have to go now.
Didn't he say there was a third man?
Yeah, he drops it by mistake.
Yeah, because he's under pressure and he doesn't really know what to say.
He's covering up because I think he has to, because he's scared. With bloody reason. And he drops that by mistake. And then after he realizes he said that, he gets kind of like, oh, I have to go now. The wife she's going to knife me or something. I'm not sure.
No, he gets very Hitler shouty. He gets very shouty.
He gets shouty for a reason, because he's petrified.
What's the deal with the little boy in the hallway and just bouncing the ball inside?
At this stage, the boy is just looking on and he's finding it very interesting. But he sees him screaming with the porter, and that's important later, because him and the porter are screaming at each other leads to a certain accusation later in the movie.
Yeah.
We can talk about that when we hit that, but that's why he gets accused of some shizzle.
Yeah. So where do we go after that?
Yeah, so Miss Smith is... he goes to see Miss Smith at her gaff.
Yeah.
With him. I don't know when they met, but they meet up and they go back to her gaff to have a chat. And the Fuzz, a.k.a. the International Polizia. So that's the Russians, the British, French, the Yanks, or am I missing somebody?
Russian, Austrian, probably.
Yeah. It's just a collection.
English, American, probably.
Something like that. A bunch of lads.
It's a bunch of lads.
They're ripping our house apart, being a-holes. At this point, you're kind of led to believe that Calloway is an absolute fecker, because he's kind of blackmailing her at this point. But he takes a look at her papers and hands it over to Sergeant Payne. Sergeant Payne goes, "That's a pretty good one there. I haven't seen one that good before," implying that it's fake.
Yeah.
So she's perhaps
in
Austrian.
trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you're not Austrian, and then the implication here is that if you're not Austrian, and they're talking about the Russians, is that, well, we hand this over to the Russians. If you don't talk to us now, we'll give this to the Russians, and toodles.
Yeah, and he does. He gives them to the Russians in the cop shop, basically. Yeah. What I have now next, I have Dr. Winkle.
Dr. Winkle!
Winkle.
Yeah, he doesn't like being called Dr. Winkle. You got a little bit... What's this? Oh, I've got a little confused here myself.
I think, I've got some sort of quotations here. I've got pushed ? And then they bring up Joseph Harbin.
Yes, but Justin Harbin is there's an interrogation between Calloway and the lady actress, and he's demanding from her, "What do you know of Joseph Harbin?" And she's like, Who's that chap? Now we don't spend long there. We jump over to the Casanova Club,
right,
where Popescu,
the other
the Romanian,
the Romanian, yeah.
So he was one of the lads helping.
And the Baron is on violin.
That's really freaky. With the woman's eating her soup, and he's right up in the face.
Right.
Very uncomfortable soup eating, I would imagine.
Yeah. That was great camera angle, because then when you see it next, you see that they're actually right up against the side of a wall. So they would have had to have shot that in a crazy way, where they have it out on, perfectly for the camera situation, but I thought it was quite good because she's still eating her soup when they walk past after they have their conversation.
Yeah, it's very good. I kind of love this scene. The Romanian chap, he doesn't really add, or he's not,
No, doesn't have
he
anything
doesn't
really.
seem that important yet. Although we will see him later in book club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they kind of basically at this stage we have Baron Kurtz, Dr. Winkle, Popescu, and they're basically saying, they're all sort of going, well, this Holly Martin's getting a little bit near to the truth here. He's badgering on a bit, and he's very annoying. Let's meet at the bridge. So they have a little meeting at the bridge and we see it from above and we see it from afar.
Lovely
it's very
shot.
good.
There's a bit of an old school montage thing going on here where the lads are all getting together. And then it jumps on to a scene with our friend Holly outside shouting up at the porter, and the porter man goes, "I'm not a bad man. You come to me tonight when my wife's away and we'll have a chat."
Yeah.
And then he turns around and then his face just goes, "Oh no. Whoops, somebody overheard that. Damn it."
Yeah. So in between now and when they go over to have a chat with him, Holly is talking about Lime to Anna Schmidt, and we get to know basically a little backstory of how much she enjoys him and how much of a. And obviously, I think at this stage, I think we find out that he sorted out her forged papers for her. Maybe not now, but we find it at some point.
Yeah, I think she does mention it briefly.
Probably does mention it.
It's one of the things. I think she says it's one of the things he did for me, but she never actually says it. She shows it and goes, "It's one of the things he did for me."
Yeah. So they head over to see what the porter's going to say to them, but no.
I love the conversation he has. There's a bunch of people standing around Harry's old building.
A bunch of rubbernecks.
And he's like, "What happened?" And the guy's like, he says something in German, and then he said, "Any English?" And he goes, "Porter, dead, kaput." Conveys it quite well. And this is where the little kid comes back into play. So
annoying.
Yeah, he's the lad who's seen the two lads fighting. So he starts chatting to his dad. He goes, "Papa, papa," points at him, says something about the porter, and gesticulates madly. And everybody's going, "Wait a second. So you were screaming at the dead guy yesterday?" Right. That's when they take Leggett, himself and Anna, hit the road.
Beautifully shot shadows.
Oh, it's so beautiful in this piece. Like the cinematography the whole way through this is stellar.
Yeah.
And there's a few scenes. This feels lovely where they're running down the stairs and all that sort of stuff. And we see these same scenes a few times, but they're damn good. The lighting is just, and it's all natural lighting for the most part. I think
he put some spotlights at some point. I don't know which scenes though. I think there's actually a documentary in the making of it. I just saw, but it never gets old because he always finds these angles and diagonals, and they've made sure
having people backlit as well, so it's just their silhouette. It's just so well done,
and they've made sure there's the cobblestones are all wet and everything for most of the scenes, and it adds another layer of texture to everything. So he heads back to the hotel, and there's a car waiting for him. He thinks he's getting bundled into to be topped off. It's probably worse than that.
He's like, wait a second. Where are you going? And the taxi driver's like, yeah, whatever. Shut up. We'll get there. And he's driving like a lunatic. But they get there, and it's something we didn't mention earlier, and I should have mentioned earlier, because the guy who wants him to talk at the book club is Crabbins is from the cultural re-education section. And that just had me screaming inside. Like, that just doesn't sound great. I think it's not nearly as nefarious as it sounds. A re-education just doesn't feel good.
Probably basically just Western education, America fiction author, learn about it.
Yeah.
Very Brave New World-esque.
Somewhat, yes.
Yeah. Anyway, he's terrible as a speaker.
He can't speak. He's been asked, stuff about literature and about famous authors and how he'd categorize people like James Joyce. And he's like, who? Who's that? Everybody's like, everybody just starts getting up when they realize how crap he is. He's up there floundering. It's brilliant.
Crabbins is not happy. He's going to put his head in his hands.
What have I done? This
Well,
isn't how you. This isn't how you culturally re-educate people.
No, it's a sad, pathetic wannabe author.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, as you said, Popescu comes in and starts throwing questions at him too, right?
Yeah, yeah. So he's working on a book at the moment, and he's like, "Yes, as a matter of fact, I'm working on a book called The Third Man. It's a murder story
Mm-hmm.
based on fact." I guess goes like, lads, nab him.
Somebody says stick to fiction. Does a Popescu say stick to fiction?
Yeah, he asked him what type of novel is it, and he said, "Is it fiction? Are you mixing fiction and fact?" And he went, "No, it's all fact. Maybe you should stick to fiction."
Stick to fiction.
Yeah.
So nice little spiral staircase scene again. Another cinematography
3-second shot looking up the
masterclass.
stairs is gorgeous, absolutely beautiful, and they don't overdo it. Like it is a fantastic shot, but they don't dwell on it. Beautiful.
No,
Mwah.
no. Well
Bag
done,
it in there, 2
Robert
seconds.
Krasker.
Yes, yes. Feckin' Parrot gets him here though.
Cockatoo.
He, sorry,
That's what he says.
I know. Oh, he calls it a parrot later on though, but yeah.
I thought he says cockatoo later on.
Oh, no, when he's explaining to Schmidt what happened when he's drunk.
Anyway.
Feckin' parrot bit me.
Yeah, he's got a bandage on his finger after this scene because a bloody cockatoo/parrot bites him.
Yeah.
So he heads to Calloway, basically, doesn't he?
He does.
So Calloway then turns his character now, basically. Calloway becomes this seer of truth and wanter of justice.
Which I kind of get. I respect this because he has no place in the world giving his case away to some nobody that he doesn't bloody know. But now he sees this guy's embroiled in it and he's useful to his goal of catching somebody and bringing people to justice. So he brings him in on it. And then we realize that Calloway isn't an a-hole. He just wants to catch somebody who is, quite frankly, a monster.
Right, because we get to know the ins and outs of the penicillin racket. Harry Lime basically just does crappy penicillin.
Him and Joseph Harbins had been stealing all of the penicillin from the local hospitals, watering it down, and then selling it back to the hospitals for 70 quid a shot. And a bunch of kids died. Like, not just a bunch, but like, I think it was thousands of people he mentioned. It was, women during childbirth, kids with meningitis, so on and so forth. Horrific. And considering it's post-war, there's going to be a lot of sick people. What he did wasn't just
terrible
murder, as Calloway says. He says, yeah, it's not racketeering, it's murder. And it's not just one murder. It's brutal. So he kind of cops that, oh, my buddy. There's a montage now here as well. A lovely little montage where he gets punched in the face over and over again with evidence that is irrefutable. It's great. He says, here, have a whiskey. And he's like, no, you'll want a bloody whiskey.
Yeah. So we sort of have this side story where the Russians are sort of after Anna's papers. They're going to kick her back out to Czechoslovakia, the Czech Republic, Czechia.
Czechoslovakia at the time, because it was they were going to be, she was going to be repatriated, and you probably don't want that back in the day.
Yeah, he's in the hotel getting pissed out of his head, and all the ladies of the night are there staring at him. He's like, "Nah, I'm just going to grab some flowers and head over to Anna." He does say, "Sorry, I do have it in quotations mark. A parrot. What happened to your finger? Parrot bit me. Parrot." Very good shot here. They're chatting away, but then he moves out of shot and the camera pans into the flowers or the plants on the balcony.
Down to the guy below. It's such a lovely panning shot.
Into the street.
It's a triumph of excellent cutting that you obviously can't be achieved with the technology of the time. So they did it through cutting and editing. Beautifully done.
Yeah, very innovative. We do get a little thing here that she has a cat and she goes, "Oh, this cat loves Harry." So when we zoom out through and we head down to the street level, we do see a shadowy person in an alleyway, and the cat walks up to the shadowed feet. Yeah, and just is loving on their feet, and we're going, "Oh, Harry's alive."
Catnip.
Human catnip.
Yes. Yeah, so he goes downstairs, and
Probably the most famous shot coming up, right? The gift that you sent me.
yeah, with the Harry face coming out of the darkness. Hey,
Hey,
I'm not all that dead.
yeah, but it's
Spoiler.
very smirky, confident, cock
It's
of
an
the walk look.
asshole face. It is a fantastic asshole face. You know,
Yeah, it's
overly
like
confident. Look at me.
smirk, cigarette.
Yeah.
We're not. He's not winning us over as viewers though with his face after the penicillin racket details.
Yeah, we already hate him at this point, and I think it's a good face. It's helping us hate him.
Yeah. Anyway, he basically goes to Calloway and goes, "Listen, I saw him."
Yeah.
Yeah, he runs after him. It's another chase scene of shadows and lit cobblestones and wet
Yeah, but
surfaces.
he's kind of shit faced, so there's no way he's catching him.
No,
He loses him, and he doesn't know where he went. Where did he go? I don't know. But as you say, he goes to Calloway and brings Calloway and Sergeant Payne to come find him.
He brings the pain.
He brings the Payne, and it's the Payne who figures out where he went. He points at the little hut, and they go, "Oh,
it's the cellar entrance." But they basically have to go and find the grave first to see who's buried there. And it is.
It's Joseph Harbins, the lad who was procuring the penicillin from the hospitals and supplying it to Mr. A-hole himself, Mr. Harry Lime.
So Harry offed him.
Often because I think he must have been. I think the cops were getting close to him, so he offed him to cover himself. That clearly didn't work. So he offed himself and disappeared. It was a good move.
Yeah. So they have the evidence now. So they're like, right, what are we doing now? So we sort of have the Russians go to nab Anna because she's a bit dodgy with her papers. And the nosy German neighbor woman
screaming at the cops,
and the guard just walks away and goes into the apartment.
Closes the door behind itself. Yeah,
it's a funny moment. Anyway, Calloway and Anna have a talk, and then Holly and Holly goes to Kurtz and Winkel, right? He talks to them up on the balcony, right? What does he say to them? Oh, I know all about it, you motherfuckers.
Yeah, I'm not leaving here until I get to chat to Harry. And they're like, well, come on up. It'll be fine. And he's like, I don't bloody think so. You can come down here and talk to me because I don't want to get killified in the house. Thanks very much.
And then he just basically says, tell him to meet me at the wheel.
It's a great scene. The wheel.
Very good scene.
Great dialogue.
I actually thought, so he's waiting there at the wheel, and then we see a faraway figure in the distance. And I actually thought at this point, which he does later at the end of the movie, he does it, but I just thought he was just going to stay on it as he just walks slowly towards him with no cuts. But he does cut a couple of times. But at the end of the movie, he doesn't cut. Like, Anna is very far away, and she doesn't cut once, and we have to wait like a minute for her to walk.
It's wonderful.
It's a great scene. I think he should have done it here.
I think it's more effective in the last scene. We can talk about that when it happens because of how devastating it must be for the protagonist. But in this scene, I think what's more interesting is the conversation they have when they get into the wheel, especially when the door is knocked ajar and he's chatting about offing him. And it's so polite.
You do trust me, don't you? Or something like that.
As he opens the door, look down there. They're just dots. Would you care if Udom died? If those dots stopped moving? I give you $20,000 for each dot that stopped moving? You wouldn't know them.
It's a good scene. It's a very good dialogue. And obviously Orson Welles made it up for himself to make it good.
The delivery is just fantastic as well. You know, obviously he's written it for his own style, but it works so well. And it's such a provocative sort of conversation they have. And you can see that the character of God damn it, Holly. I was going to call him Harry there for a second.
There's Holly and Harry.
Yeah, and that's hence Anna having an issue calling Holly Harry all the bloody time.
Oh yeah, true.
You can see that he's having a moral quandary, thinking about what Harry's saying. It's like maybe I do like money.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but I also like It's quite famous. I think I've seen it on YouTube a bit. What Harry says, Italy went through so many wars, but they had a Renaissance, Leonardo da Vinci. Switzerland didn't have anything. What did they come up with? The cuckoo clock.
Cuckoo clock, baby.
And it's just the way he says it. The cuckoo clock.
It's such a psychopathic thing to say, 500 years of peace and harmony, and all they got was a cuckoo clock. How about the 500 years of peace and harmony? Well, he doesn't see the harmony and the peace thing as a win. He thinks that as culturally stagnating and pointless.
Toblerone.
Well, that's the peak of culture, in my opinion.
Their beers are terrible, though. Swiss beers are just boring.
I've never had a Swiss beer.
They don't export them
because nobody would buy them.
Nobody takes them. He has a great. He just goes. I don't know if I can't remember if he does cuckoo clock, and then he goes, "So long, Harry," or is that later on? Does he just go straight from cuckoo clock?
So long, Harry. That's straight
beautiful.
away. It's a beautiful cut. It's such a just sharp boom done. He has offered him in a couple of sentences before that you can work with me, so you can chat to me later. But then he goes into this chat just to explain why working with him is a good idea. You can be a psychopath with me. Cuckoo clock. Bye bye.
Cuckoo clock.
So long.
So long, Harry.
Yeah,
Holly. So long, Holly.
Gosh, stop it. See, this is why Anna got it wrong.
Anna's all over the place, and so are we. Anyway, we're heading back. Holly and Calloway are trying to pen a deal. Like Holly's sort of like going,
yeah.
But I think what sways him from.
So the first time he's swayed is by seeing Anna's passport on the desk, and he goes, I have got one thing that can convince me to betray my ex-friend, and that is you sort out Anna so that she isn't extradited to Russia, effectively.
Yeah, because there's like this camera angle of the desk, and it's got Harry Lime's sort of paper or like criminal sheet, and it pans over to Anna's papers or passport, literally, and that's quite a nice scene. We're seeing it from Holly's point of view, kind of going, It's like that Curb Your Enthusiasm meme where Larry's in the middle going, yeah.
But yeah, so he then sods off to go. Oh, that's right. She gets taken to the train station and sent to Paris, but she isn't sent to Paris just yet. She looks out the window, sees Holly in the pub, and she runs across and says, "What are you doing here?" And she figures out that he's trading Harry for her freedom, and she's like, no, I don't want it.
Not having that.
Not having that. This is where I'm like, you're an idiot, Anna.
He's alive, isn't he?
Yeah. She cops it, and she's like, well, I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And he's like, screw it. I'm back to the cops again. I'm not doing it.
It's great the way they shoot the train leaving. It's just light and smoke. Nothing else. We don't see the train leaving. We just see light and smoke.
It introduces a level of anxiety that get back to the train. It's gone.
No, I don't think so.
I think it's I think there's like your time's running out and it's gone, and she doesn't. She doesn't flinch. She's like, I'm not going anywhere near that train. It's gone.
I think Calloway probably wants to sort of put him over the edge here, Holly, so he takes him to a children's ward to see the effects of shitty penicillin.
It's such an obvious play, but Holly doesn't object to seeing the ward, and when he goes in, he sees children mangled. He's like, "Yeah, okay,
you win. So they set up a sort of a sting operation in a cafe in a crumbling outskirts of Vienna. Close-ups of all the lads' faces waiting.
It's a very weird piece, though, where there's an old man.
Balloon, yeah, he's actually a real Viennese dude.
Is he actually a balloon salesman? Because that would be even better.
Don't even know, but I just read that he's
a midnight balloon salesman.
Yeah, it was weird. I thought it might have been a Harry ploy.
No, well, if it was a Harry ploy, he was rubbish.
Yeah.
Payne
actually buys one balloon from him.
No, Scarpa.
Was?
Yeah, jog on. Yeah.
Was?
What's the German for jog on? Schnell.
how app is fuck off.
That'll do it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Gates Los. Yeah.
He gets his balloon anyway, does Sergeant Payne. And Holly is waiting in the cafe
Greasy spoon. Yeah.
for Harry to appear. But somebody else appears. A certain lady, Anna Schmidt, comes in the door. She's pissed. What are you doing here? I know what you're doing here. Kurtz told me, you jerk.
But then we have Harry's entrance, which is just a beautiful
By the back
silhouette.
door, yeah.
No, but before that, there's a shot of him just appearing on the roof.
Over the rubble, and it's just silhouetted in his face.
Silhouette.
A bit of a smirk.
Light behind him.
He's got that cheeky, chappy grin on his face again. And
yeah, he comes into the cafe then, and he's like...
But he comes in just as she's screaming at him for being a police informant, and he hears this, and his face just drops. Because he's like, oh, my buddy, I'm going to be best bet. Ooh, where's my gun?
No.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, listen, this next, the final set of scenes is... We'd be here all night if we described every single cut scene and camera shot and
beautiful. It goes on
Dutch
for a little
angle.
bit as well, but it
does.
Absolutely gorgeous. It really is. Cinematography at its best.
Yeah, it's like he's running everywhere and quick cuts running different directions and
yeah, it gives you that feeling of the net slowly tightening around him, and at the start he's got distance and he can go down different paths and stuff, but as he keeps doing it, the paths keep closing off, and yeah, he gets so far.
Yeah. And he's just, there's so many police around. They're up on the street. They're opening the manhole covers. There's dogs. He can't get out, basically.
No,
quick cuts.
Something unfortunate here happens to, Sergeant Payne sees Holly chasing after him, and he screams for him to get out of the way. But Harry, being a jerk, shoots Sergeant Payne, the only nice man in the entire movie. The guy who bought the balloon off the balloon salesman, he shoots him dead.
The balloon goes floating up.
Yeah, he didn't have the balloon with this point, because that would have been awesome. And very unprofessional. But Holly takes the gun from Sergeant Payne's dead fingers and finishes the job. You don't see him shooting him.
No, you don't.
Bang, and then misty smoke and a silhouette of a man walking out of it. And you don't know for a couple of seconds who it is.
Yeah, it's weird that Calloway is just he's not very soldier-like when he just sort of gets distracted. He knows Payne is dead, but he just stays there with him. It's like, why didn't you just go after the enemy?
That is weird. But
he does have another spiral staircase here. Like, that's where he dies, Harry.
Yeah, there's a great scene actually where Harry gets to the top because he's been shot. Sorry, he's been shot by Calloway at this point. He's not mortally wounded. He's just in bits, and his fingers coming through the grate at the top. He can't lift it up anymore. He's not strong enough.
Yeah,
and his fingers. Apparently, that was the director because Orson Welles fecked off early.
Yeah.
Still a great scene, well shot, just beautiful. It's like the desperation of a man trying to get through something he just can't get through. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, he has met his demise, and it's over for his racketeering, his racket.
No more selling penicillin. Yeah, jerk.
Asshole. Funeral.
Real funeral. Well,
real
his funeral. Sorry, the last one was a real funeral, just the wrong corpse.
Yeah. And we have, as you said, a mirrored shot of Calloway driving Holly out of the graveyard past Anna Schmidt.
But they stop. He says, "Anna, stop!" And you're going to miss your flight. It's going to be stupid.
Yeah, again.
He knows. I know it's stupid. I don't make good decisions. He gets out. Calloway drives off. Kind of idiot. He sits waiting for Anna, who doesn't even acknowledge his existence. But this shot of her walking towards him, as you say, takes a minute or two, and it's just beautifully devastating because, not even going to look at you.
Yeah, she walks She walks past him and then up to our right out of shot, but the camera stays there for maybe 5 seconds more, maybe even 10 seconds more. And you just have this thought, oh, will she come back into the scene and he will go with her?
No. And that's even better because of that. No. And I love that it isn't a Hollywood ending. I love it would have been an awful Hollywood ending. Terrible.
I think somebody did want
One of them did. I think
producer.
There was an argument. Apparently, the only argument about the script was about this. Apparently, one of the producers, who was a negative fecker, wanted a happy ending, and the other producer, who was a positive guy, went, "Nah, let's go with the dark. Let's go dark, man.
Yeah.
Let's go depressing." And thank God he won, because I think it's way better for it. Had they been wrapped in each other's arms, I would have been annoyed.
Yeah, it would have been more annoying. I do have it. Before he got out of the Jeep, Calloway just says, "Be sensible, Martins," and he says, "I don't have a sensible name."
It's true. Holly.
So I like that. I like the way he noticed himself that
he knows he's going to do something stupid, and then when it happens,
he's like smoking a cigarette, and we don't really see a close up. We don't have a close up reaction of his face or anything, but you can see it in his mannerism. That
the way he's standing, he's like, okay, there we go. Damn it,
she's not happy with me.
Should have just got the damn flight.
Yeah, I think he can still make it. It's fine.
How many flight tickets now has Calloway lost because of this fecker?
Good old Calloway. Hopefully, bought refundable ones.
Yeah, so hopefully he's not flying Ryanair
for Holly. Yeah. Quite some high scores I've given it here. The plot is simple enough, but I think it's good. I think I gave it 3.25. I think there's enough mystery to it, enough sort of layers to it that gives it a lot of interest.
I like the plot. I give it a 3.75. I didn't cop the third man was Harry, which I enjoyed not copping. So that was good. It's not superly amazing plot, but it's still a good plot. So yeah.
I think everybody does a great job acting. I gave it 4 out of 5. I don't think anybody's weird or weak. I think when Orson Welles comes into it for the 10 minutes that he's in it, I think he's great.
I give it 3.75. Just knocking it back for a little bit. Kurtz kind of annoyed me. I think he overacts a little bit in my head. I'd look up the actor's name, but he's dead. Doesn't matter. He's not terrible. It's just there's a few moments where a few actors actually overact.
Ernst Deutsch. That's his name.
Ernst Deutsch.
Ernst name. German.
It's Welsh.
Yeah.
So acting's good. It's very good.
Yeah, I really like Orson Welles' Ferris wheel speech.
So much presence when he starts speaking, though. He commands the screen.
Yeah, he's great. Soundtrack's track of giving 3. Obviously, the theme tune is famous. You'll know it when you hear it. You've heard it somewhere else. I don't know where. It's derived. There's derivations of it throughout the movie, and it's good.
That's the only music the whole way through. I give it 3.5. It's iconic, and I didn't realize what it was until I heard it and Shazammed it as it was playing in the intro. I was like, oh, so this is where this comes from. It's good. I love that it's very simple. There's only one song and everything else is a variation of it. There is nothing else. That is fantastic.
Yeah, very good. Production, I did have it at 4.25, but I'm just going to bump it up to 4.5, I think, because it deserves it.
I give it 4.5 as well. It's the shots, the cutting, the editing. It is for 1949. This really holds up extremely well, and it's because of how it's shot. It's just gorgeous. It's candy for the old eyes.
Yeah, I'd like to see a lot of it. I'd like to see another one of his movies to see how he does. Maybe a movie after this, but he had. I don't think anything really crazy. Our Man in Havana is quite famous, I believe. Mutiny on the Bounty.
That's pretty damn famous.
He was director, but he was fired and he's uncredited.
Oh, really? Oh, harsh.
Yeah. He got Oscars for Oliver, I think, the musical in 1968. Won 5 Oscars. So
Not so bad. Not so bad.
yeah.
Just to throw a little parallel with amazing editing and cinematography, Orson Welles and his Citizen Kane movie, roughly the same time as well, which is renowned for its cinematography. A little bit better than that, obviously, but this is a better movie in my head. The story is more interesting, the acting's better. Citizen Kane goes on a bit long for my liking.
Yes, Citizen Kane. Yeah. Citizen Kane is only 2 hours.
It feels much longer, though, possibly because it's just a story of it. It feels like a documentary, obviously because it's meant to feel like a documentary.
Yeah, I fell down a rabbit hole of seeing what Orson Welles did in the 80s, like in his wind down, and he played roles in some weird, horrible movies. I don't know why.
He did garbage at the end.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know how he fell off so much. He's really just out of shape and just not. Let's just watch his stuff from this era.
Yes, this is his golden era.
Yeah. Richard Brody in the New Yorker gave it 60 out of 100. He said a peculiarly hollow, centralist blend of theatre and literature from which what's missing, for the most part, is precisely the cinema. It isn't so much that The Third Man is a bad movie, far from it, but it's far from being a great one too. It doesn't really say anything in his analysis there.
So he says it's not a bad movie, but it's missing cinema. What?
Weird. Our old friend Roger Ebert gave it 100 in the Chicago Sun-Times. He said, of all the movies I've seen, this one completely embodies the romance of going to the movies.
I get that.
Yeah, we all have like a noir classic, says The Guardian. Supporting characters turn in excellent portrayals, camera work on an exceptionally high plane, and in his painstaking direction, Carol Reed lives up to his high reputation. That's Variety. And so, yeah. So, lots of hundreds. That's why it's got a 98 average Metacritic score.
It's an insanely high score.
Very much so. It might be the most we've got, maybe. Not sure. Don't know, actually. Don't know. We'll figure it out in episode 100 when we go through everything. Shall we bury this mistakenly or wrongly in a weird
I'm going to
coffin?
get out of the Jeep and let it walk past me without acknowledging my existence.
Let's do that. Let's not acknowledge the existence of this episode anymore and go on to episode 99, our last one before we hit triple digits. Be Jesus. Bloody hell. And random movie number 99 is 1411. And strangely enough, it's got man in the title as well. It is Repo Man from 1984. Don't know if you've seen this one.
Repo Man. That does sound familiar.
It's the summary is Otto, played by Emilio Estevez, loses his job as a stock boy in a supermarket in Los Angeles and spends his evening in the punk underground before encountering Bud, played by Harry Dean Stanton, who brings him into the life of professional car repossessing. Meanwhile, a nuclear physicist, Harris, has stolen something dangerous and glowing, which he stashes in the trunk of his 1964 Chevy Malibu, a mid-80s cult classic. 1984.
You know, I think I have seen this at 3 o'clock in the morning. So.
Probably on Channel 4 sometime.
Yeah, I barely remember it. Does sound familiar though.
Yeah, it's got a Metascore of 82 and a user score of 7.0, but so obviously liked well enough.
Okay.
All right, cool. It'll be fun. It's in 1 hour, 32 minutes and sounds a bit quirky and off kilter a little bit. And it's mid-80s. Can't go wrong with that. Yeah. Okay, so that'll be episode 99. Please share, like, subscribe to whatever platform you're listening to us or watching us on, and we'll see you for episode 99 for Repo Man. Bye-bye.
Ta-ra.